You're listening to an Airwave Media Podcast.
¿Hablas español?
Sprichst du Deutsch?
Kan du norsk?
If you used Babbel, you would. Babbel's conversation-based techniques teaches you useful words and phrases to get you speaking quickly about the things you actually talk about in the real world, with lessons handcrafted by over 200 language experts and voiced by real native speakers. Babbel is like having a private tutor in your pocket. Start speaking with Babbel today. Get up to 55% off your Babbel subscription right now at babbel.com/Spotify, spelled BABBEL.com/Spotify. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Starting a business can seem like a daunting task, unless you have a partner like Shopify. They have the tools you need to start and grow your business. From designing a website to marketing to selling and beyond, Shopify can help with everything you need. There's a reason millions of companies like Mattel, Heinz, and Allbirds continue to trust and use them. With Shopify on your side, turn your big business idea into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.
Welcome to Historical Blindness, the Odd Past podcast. I'm the creator and host, Nathaniel Lloyd, and you're listening to a Blind Spot episode, released between the principal episodes of the show as a companion piece to the last installment. In our previous episode, we explored the weird and convoluted legend of the White Lady, a ghost that reappears as a warning or fell omen that a prince of the Hohenzollern dynasty will soon perish. In researching this pale harbinger, I came to understand how tied up it was in ancient mythology, as well as more recent history. And indeed, this phantom of Germany was not alone the sole example of its kind. It appears that the idea of a guardian spirit that is tied to an individual or a family can be found in the ancient traditions of Greeks, Romans, and Celts. These entities were called demons in ancient Greece, and it was argued that they were part and parcel with human experience, tied in some mysterious way with our bodies or our souls. Socrates spoke of this daemon as though it were some divine force guiding his actions. But since then, many thinkers have suggested that he actually referred to something more rational and down to earth. Hegel believed that Socrates referred to his will, and Jung believed that what Socrates mistook for a spiritual guide was actually the unconscious. But these are modern rationalizations, and one can find notions of a guardian spirit, a phantom presence that protects and warns, throughout history. From the Roman genius, which was a guardian spirit or family spirit, to the spirit guides of Native Americans. It is this tradition of actual spectral entities, many of which are described as bound not only to an individual, but to a certain family, that the White Lady of the Hohenzollerns seems to fit into. They are often said to appear before some calamity or tragedy as a silent forewarning, and there seem to be many of them in Germany and beyond. These guardians have another name. They are called tutelary spirits. The Hohenzollern harbinger appears to be only one among a great many white ladies in popular lore everywhere. In the United Kingdom alone, many come to mind. The White Ladies of the Castle of Skipsey in Yorkshire, of Samlesbury Hall in Lancashire, of Blenkinsop Castle in Northumberland, of Bowling Hall near Bradford, and those of Woodhousley and Avenel all have their legends, in which women of various stations in life suffered various abuses and lunacies and perished by neglect or violence. The difference, however, is that these don't appear to be tutelary spirits, their appearance is not necessarily presumed to foreshadow anything in particular. In Ireland, however, there is legend of an undoubtedly tutelary spirit called a quote-unquote White Lady of Sorrow, who is known to warn certain families of an imminent death among their ranks. This, of course, is the legend of the Banshee. It is supposed that the Banshee might be the spirit of any person who had in life encountered the family and loved them, or had good reason to harbor animosity toward them. Thus, the Banshee, who portends a family member's impending death with its song, may sing a comforting air or shriek with hellish glee at its enemy's forthcoming suffering. Nor is the banshee the only singer among tutelary spirits. Scottish lore suggests that the chiefs of ancient houses have their own guardian spirits, bodachs, who warned of a coming death. And one, the Bodach Undone, or Ghost of the Hill, protector of the Shaw clan, is said to have sung in lamentation when the family lost its ancestral land. Sometimes these tutelary spirits, while still women like the Hohenzollern harbinger and the banshee, differ noticeably in appearance, or more specifically in the color of their garments. Back in Germany, we find a legend out of Darmstadt of a red lady who appeared shortly before the unhappy death of Princess Alice, daughter of Queen Victoria. And in Bavaria, another is connected with the House of Wittelsbach, a family that has been haunted not only by spirits, but by the specter of madness as well, with more than 20 members having gone insane within 100 years. The spirit that haunts the Wittelsbachs in their ancestral castles at Fürstenried and Nymphenburg is also an ethereal woman, but rather than appearing as a young and fetching woman in white, she appears as an aging and haggard woman in a long black robe, with hair as white as a sheet. This black lady appeared prior to the death of King Maximilian II in 1864. According to the story, Maximilian's wife, Marie of Prussia, beheld this fearful apparition standing behind her husband's chair and looking at her with sorrow in her eyes before vanishing. Greatly frightened, she told the king what she had seen, and Maximilian, aware of the legend of the Black Lady, demanded of his guards what woman clothed in black they had allowed to enter the room. But of course, his guards claimed not to have admitted anyone. 3 days later, the king died suddenly, supposedly of a catastrophic attack of gastritis. Maximilian's son, then, is also said to have had his demise foretold by an appearance of this Black Lady. Ludwig is sometimes called the Mad King because he was deposed when a psychiatrist declared him mad and therefore unfit to rule. In recent years, this evaluation has been brought into question, with some suggesting that Ludwig's deposition had more to do with his debts and rumors of his homosexuality rather than any genuine insanity. Regardless, one night, a guard claimed to have seen the Black Lady floating at the opposite end of the king's corridor. Chasing the spirit down to the courtyard, the guard demanded that she identify herself, but the figure made no reply, moving on through the moonlight. Nearing the chapel, the spirit turned to regard him. The guard then produced a firearm and discharged it, but it backfired, injuring him mortally. He had only time enough to tell the tale of his encounter to another alarmed sentry before dying. And true to the legend of the Black Lady's appearance, the very next day, a great tragedy befell Mad King Ludwig while out walking the shore of Lake Starnberg. He had insisted on walking alone with the physician who had declared him unfit to rule. When they didn't return, a search ensued, and they were both found dead in the lake, with the physician showing signs of having suffered some violence. It was thought that the Mad King had killed the doctor who'd betrayed him and then drowned himself. But no water was found in the king's lungs, leaving the nature of Ludwig II's death a mystery. But that tale may be better served if we save it for the topic of another episode. As listeners of Historical Blindness, you're no strangers to the fact that history is a lens through which we can better understand the present. Or as Shakespeare put it, what's past is prologue. History is the indispensable context without which we cannot hope to truly understand current events. You understand that, and so do the creators of the American Scandal podcast. Every season, they immerse listeners in the biggest controversies in U.S. history, helping us understand America's dark side and learn from its troubled past. Its latest season, Ruby Ridge Standoff, delves into an incident that sowed the seeds for the rise of the modern radical right. It transports you to 1992, where in a remote corner of Idaho, federal law enforcement surround a small cabin. They've come for Randy Weaver, a survivalist who took his family to the mountains in anticipation of the apocalypse. A simple weapons charge brought the agents here, but the situation is about to explode into a deadly and tragic standoff that will later become a rallying cry for far-right extremists, fueling distrust and violent anti-government sentiment for decades. Follow American Scandal on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can binge all episodes of American Scandal's Ruby Ridge Standoff early and ad-free right now on Wondery Plus. Every summer, I'm careful to avoid getting burned. My summer plans always include applying sunscreen so I can attend barbecues and protests without worrying about getting scorched. And when I make my plans by making phone calls, I also don't want to get burned by an outrageous wireless bill. That's why I switched to a Mint Mobile plan and saved enough to take a summer vacation. With Mint, I found no difference in speed or coverage, just a big difference in cost. And right now, you can switch to a Mint wireless plan like me to avoid sweating those surprise charges and overages. You'll just be chillin' with Mint's offer of 3 months premium service on the nation's largest 5G network for just $15 a month. With high-speed data and unlimited talk and text, it might just be the coolest thing happening this summer. This year, skip breaking a sweat and breaking the bank. Get this new customer offer and your 3-month unlimited wireless plan for just $15 a month at mintmobile.com/blindness. That's mintmobile.com/blindness. Upfront payment of $45 required, equivalent to $15 a month. Limited time new customer offer for first 3 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details. As for these legends of tutelary spirits, it seems they do not always appear as spectral women. In France, there persisted a tradition of a little red man who showed himself at the Tutelary Palace just prior to some great calamity that would affect the ruling family of the land. At his first appearance, Marie Antoinette herself saw him in early August 1793. She and her attendants were lounging when they noticed him, a tiny man, clad in scarlet, with such an inhuman gaze that he seemed a goblin. Horrified, she and the others fled from the imp and told her mother what they'd seen. Within a few days, the bloody French Revolution had begun. This little red man appeared again in 1814 to Napoleon's son before Napoleon's abdication and exile. But thereafter, many thought him a hoax because of one debunked sighting in 1815. The little red man appeared to some ladies and a chevalier while they sat dining. Coming out of the fireplace, he took a leg of mutton from the table and disappeared back up the chimney. This report certainly upset the royal family, who feared it portended some tragedy, and the king sent 2 chimney sweeps up the chimney to search out the scarlet imp, but neither of them returned. Only when he sent a professional firefighter up the chimney was it discovered that some youths on another floor had cut a hole into the chimney in order to play the prank and had let the 2 chimney sweeps in on the joke. However, the legend of the little red man did not die, for the creature was seen again in 1824 before Louis XVIII's passing, and again in 1871 before the fires of the Paris Commune. Indeed, it appears that legends of tutelary spirits associated with royal families do not always even take the form of a person. Legend has it that before the transpiring of terrible events that touched the lives of those in the Habsburg dynasty of Austria, preternaturally large white birds were seen flying in the daylight. These unearthly creatures, called the turnfalcon, were said to fly by night, hidden in darkness, and only made daytime flights to forebode some ill omen for the Habsburgs with their strange and shrill cries. As with others of these tutelary spirits, the Turnfalken were seen in flight before numerous Habsburg deaths, some of them quite unexpected, such as that of Duchess Sophie Charlotte, who died in a fire at a Paris bazaar. One of the most notable Habsburg deaths presaged by the flight of the Turnfalken was the mysterious death of Crown Prince Rudolf in what is known as the Meyerling tragedy. This incident, in which the Crown Prince and his mistress were found dead in the Imperial Hunting Lodge, has remained a mystery, as none can be certain whether their deaths resulted from murder, suicide, or some combination thereof. But that, again, may be a story to explore in a future episode, so let us not dwell long on it, for the Turnfalken flew on through the years. Before the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, for example, there are reports that a flock of Turnfalken were seen wheeling around the skies of Vienna, shrieking. And before the death of Emperor Franz Joseph I 2 years later, it is said the Turnfalken circled the city in such great numbers that they sparked a general panic among the populace. To the enlightened modern mind, these legends of tutelary spirits not only smack of superstition, but also may seem backward in their outmoded notions of the superiority of nobility and royalty, that for some reason families of a certain breeding were special and warranted the protection of spiritual guardians. All too often, though, we look at the past through the lens of the present, judging our forebears according to our own worldview, instead of meeting them on their own terms. If we fail to understand that the people of the past lived in a world of spirits and magic, then we are blinded to the true nature of their existence, and perhaps to an entire facet of the human experience. Consider the words of Sir Walter Scott. Unaided by revelation, it cannot be hoped that mere earthly reason should be able to form any rational or precise conjecture concerning the destination of the soul when parted from the body. But the conviction that such an indestructible essence exists must infer the existence of many millions of spirits who have not been annihilated, though they have become invisible to mortals, who still see, hear, and perceive only by means of the imperfect organs of humanity. Thanks for listening to Historical Blindness, the Odd Past podcast. Follow us on social media, recommend us to other podcast listeners, and review us on iTunes to help the show grow. Visit our website where you can find links to my historical novel on Amazon and to our Patreon page, which offers rewards like episode teasers and early access to episodes for pledging monthly donations of as little as $1. If my audience grows, I'll also consider producing patron-only episodes, but we're not there quite yet. Spread the word. If you like movies, and who doesn't, check out the Front Row Movie Reviews, a podcast that gives great commentary from actual movie lovers, covering classics as well as new blockbusters, and throwing in box office reports for good measure. Stay tuned after the episode for a special message from the Front Row Movie Reviews podcast. Until next time, take off your blinders. There are ghosts all around you.
Well, hello, everyone out there in podcast land. Tell me, do you like up-to-the-minute accurate movie news?
Kate Winslet's dead.
No, Kate Winslet is alive.
We really just freaked Brandon out for a
She's
second.
not dead.
Do you like it when people compare Star Wars to Rocky IV? Well, if you do, then the Front Row Movie Reviews is the podcast for you. We are the podcast for people who actually like movies, and we have anything you could be looking for when it comes to movies. We break down with all the spoilers, the biggest movie releases of the year, and full disclosure. We have flashbacks for those who love the 80s and the 90s. We have classics for those who want to talk about the greatest of all time. We have Beyond the Mouse for all of you Disney files out there. We have the Zone-isodes for all of you Twilight Zone fans, and much, much more. You can find us on anywhere you find podcasts by searching for the Front Row Movie Reviews or on our website, thefrontrowmoviereviews.com. And as always, boys. We will see you in the front row.
What does Sputnik have to do with student loans? How did a set of trembling hands end the Soviet Union? How did inflation kill moon bases? And how did a former president decide to run for a second non-consecutive term? These are among the topics we deal with on the My History Can Beat Up Your Politics podcast. We tell stories of history that relate to today's news events. Give a listen. My History Can Beat Up Your Politics, wherever you get podcasts.
This is Jen.
And Jenny.
From Ancient History Fangirl, and we're here to tell you about Jenny's scorching historical romantasy based on Alaric of the Visigoths, Enemy of My Dreams. Amanda Boucher, best-selling author of the Kingmaker Chronicle, says, quote, "This book has everything. High-stakes action, grit, ferocity, and blazing passion. Julia and Alaric are colliding storms against a backdrop of the brutal dangers of ancient Rome. They'll do anything to carve their piece out of this treacherous world and not just survive, but rule."
Enemy of My Dreams is available wherever books are sold.